If you're traveling to Venice and you're trying to be cognizant of your budget, you might be asking yourself, should I stay in Venice or should I stay in Mestre? And that's what I'm going to help answer for you in this video. Hi, I'm Taylor with Travel Lemming, and I just stayed in Venice all around the city for 16 nights, and I stayed at 12 hotels, including a hotel in Mestre. So not only do I have recommendations for you in Mestre, I also have lots of recommendations for you in Venice. So where is Mestre in relation to Venice? Mestre is on the mainland just north of Venice. And so you can get there by either bus or train. It takes about 10-15 minutes on the bus and same coming back on the train. It's also very inexpensive to get back and forth between the two. Personally, I took the train and bus both separately. I took the bus there and I took the train back to test them both out, and they both cost €1.50 for each journey per person. So very inexpensive to get back and forth between Mestre and Venice. By the way, because I stayed in so many hotels throughout the city, I wrote an entire guide to where to stay in Venice. You can find that on travellemming.com. You just search where to stay in Venice or in the description box below. Okay, so now let's get into my pros and cons of staying in Venice versus staying in Mestre. So the pros of staying in Venice, of course, the big one, you are going to be so much closer to all the major sites and attractions. If you want to see Doge's Palace, St. Mark's Square, Rialto Bridge, you can get there before the main tourist crowds. The main crowds usually descend upon, especially in the San Marco area, usually around like 11 a.m. They start really getting there, especially if you're visiting when cruise ships are docking, which happens a lot here in Venice. You get big cruise ships coming in, people kind of swarm San Marco, that, Cestier, that district, and so you're going to get way more travelers during that time of day. If you stay closer to the main sites, you get to beat the tourist crowds, and I think that's a major pro. The second major pro, if you're a photographer, and maybe it's because I love taking photos, but I like getting places early in the morning or late in the evening to get great photos. And if you have to leave back to Mestre, you might just not have that prime time of getting photos. And there's going to be a ton of people in all the photos that you take. Kind of along the same line, pro number 3 of staying in Venice is that you get to experience Venice's atmosphere at all times of day. You get to experience it in the morning. It's a little different from the afternoon, which is a little bit different at night as well. So you get to experience the full Venice lifestyle all times of day. And pro number 4 of staying in Venice is that you can be more, flexible with last minute plans. If there's something you want to do on a whim, on a dime, you can do that if you're staying in Venice itself. Whereas if you have to catch a bus or train back to Mestre, you just have one more thing to consider before you, leave Venice for the night. So just something to consider. Now let's talk about my cons of staying in Venice. And of course, there is a really big con of staying in Venice. It's expensive. It is. Like I said, I stayed in 12 hotels all around the city. Even some of the 3-star hotels can be expensive, especially if you're staying for multiple nights, which I do recommend travelers do, that they stay at least a few nights in Venice. It can get expensive. It can rack up pretty quick. However, there are more budget options even in Venice. If you're not staying in San Marco, it can be cheaper in the other areas. So once again, check out my guide to where to stay in Venice, and I'll show you a total range of the different districts, the hotels, all of that good stuff. But yes, Venice is expensive. And con number 2 of staying in Venice, I've already mentioned this, it can be very crowded, especially during the high season. So if you stay somewhere else, you get to escape those crowds, especially at night, especially on the weekends. It can be kind of loud if you're in like the main areas with people out, people enjoying themselves, people partying, that kind of thing. So the crowds are the second con of staying in Venice. Now let's get into Mestre. What are my pros of staying in Mestre? Number 1, of course, on that same level, it is cheaper to stay in Mestre. And I actually have a hotel recommendation for you. Like I said, I personally stayed at the Leonardo Royal Hotel in Mestre. So first, like I said, I took the bus into Mestre. It's about a 2-minute walk from the bus station in this hotel. And then if you're taking the train back from Mestre, or if you're taking the train into Mestre, it's about a 5 to 7-minute walk from the train station. So accessible, this hotel, the Leonardo Royal, from either transit stop, so that makes it really easy. The second pro of staying in Mestre is that it actually does have some attractions of its own. It has a main square with shops, restaurants, And I would say pro number 3 of staying in Mestre is it's way more local. So in this square, you're going to find way more locals than travelers. Not that travelers are a bad thing, but you get to see a more local Italian life in Mestre. So what are the cons of staying in Mestre? Number 1, it's not Venice. It has a very different atmosphere of staying in Venice. It's much more industrial, much more of a city vibe. There are cars everywhere where there are no cars in Venice. If you're coming to Venice and you want that Venetian atmosphere, you're just not going to get that in Mestre. And my second con of staying in Mestre is that you do have to take transportation to and from Venice every single day that you're here. It's an added step. You don't get to just, walk out of your hotel room and see the canal, see the gondolas going by. So just something else to consider. All right, everybody. Once again, if you're wondering where to stay in Venice, please check out my full guide to where to stay in Venice on travellemming.com. It's linked in the description box below. I also have YouTube videos for every single hotel review that I did. So one YouTube video per hotel. I also have written hotel reviews for every hotel I stayed at. So all of that information is linked in the description box below. If you like this video, if it helped you plan your trip, please like and subscribe. And if you liked this video, you might like this one next.